Let's begin. Charles and Ivanka had been married for years, but their life together was anything but ordinary. To outsiders, they seemed like the perfect couple, two people building a life. But behind closed doors, their marriage was unraveling. Arguments had become the norm. Small disputes snowballed into bigger issues, creating a gulf that grew wider every day. Charles, despite the tension, still loved Ivanka with all his heart. He wasn't perfect, but he tried. He worked tirelessly to secure their future, holding on to the dream of a house they could call their own. Ivanka, on the other hand, saw things through a different lens. She had her own vision of what their life should be, and it never seemed to line up with Charles. One evening, like many others, a simple disagreement about money spiraled into a battle. Charles had come home exhausted, ready for a quiet evening, but the air was already thick with tension. Ivanka asked for something she couldn't afford, and Charles reminded her of their limited budget. She didn't want to hear it. Their conversation quickly escalated. Her words cut deeper than knives. "Why do I have to explain this over and over to you?" she snapped, rolling her eyes in disdain. Charles' voice faltered. "I'm trying, Ivanka. I'm really trying. But nothing ever feels enough." She let out a dry laugh. "Trying? That's what you call this? You're just getting by, expecting me to be grateful." Her words hit harder than any argument ever had. Charles wanted to tell her about the endless hours he worked, the sacrifices he made. But what was the point? She had already dismissed him. His patience finally snapped. Grabbing his keys, he muttered, "I can't do this right now," and walked out, leaving Ivanka standing behind with a cold indifference. Little did he know, this night would change everything. Charles didn't get far before he realized he'd forgotten his wallet. Annoyed but resigned, he turned back to get it. As he slipped back into the house quietly, he heard Ivanka's voice. She was on the phone, and at first, he paid it no mind, until her words froze him in place. "I settled for less," she said. A chill shot through him. "I should have been with Dean, but I chose stability. Charles is a good man, but he's not the one I wanted." The ground seemed to slip from under him. The fights, the coldness, the distance, it all made sense now. Ivanka had never loved him the way he loved her. He had been nothing more than a convenience. Charles picked up his wallet, his heart heavy, and slipped out again. The cool night air did nothing to dull the sharp sting of betrayal. He wandered aimlessly until he found himself in a bar. It wasn't his usual haunt, but it didn't matter. He needed to be alone, to think. The beer tasted bitter, but it couldn't compare to the bitterness in his chest. Ivanka had never truly wanted him. He'd spent years believing that their struggles would pass, that his love and efforts meant something, but it was all a lie. For a moment, he considered confronting her, but what would be the point? What could he say? He'd heard the truth with his own ears, and no apology could change it. As he stared into his drink, a quiet decision formed in his mind. He wouldn't just leave for the night. He would leave for good. He would erase himself from her life and give her exactly what she wanted, freedom. That night, while Ivanka slept, Charles took action. He sat in front of his laptop, logged into their joint savings account, and withdrew 80% of the funds, the portion he had owned. But instead of taking cash, he bought valuable items, electronics, rare collectibles, things he could sell if needed. Once he'd completed the transactions, he erased all traces of them. He packed only essentials, documents, a few clothes, and left behind everything that held sentimental value. No mementos, no reminders. Before he left, he wrote a short note. "I overheard everything. I won't stand in the way of your happiness. Go find your ideal partner." By morning, Charles was gone. Ivanka woke to find a note on the kitchen counter. Her stomach sank. Panic surged as she dialed his number, but it was disconnected. She emailed him. No response. She checked his social media, but his accounts were wiped clean. In desperation, she called his office. Hours later, the receptionist said casually, "Oh, Charles resigned this morning. Sent an email before office hours." The truth hit Ivanka like a punch to the gut. He had planned this. He had erased himself deliberately. And now, she was left in an empty house with nothing but the consequences of her own choices. With Charles gone, Ivanka finally turned to Declan, the man she thought she should have been with. What had once been a secret affair now became a full relationship. In the beginning, it felt like everything she'd dreamed of. Declan said all the right things, made her feel special, but as time passed, cracks began to show. He was charming, yes, but distant. He avoided serious conversations about their future. Ivanka soon discovered that Declan was still seeing other women. The excitement she once felt turned to disappointment. The man she thought would offer her everything turned out to be just another passing phase. Charles, despite their issues, had always been there for her. He had worked, sacrificed, and fought for their future. Declan offered her only fleeting moments of thrill. Then came the painful realization she hadn't settled for less. She had thrown away something real for an illusion. Years passed, and Ivanka remained alone. Declan never committed. Whenever she mentioned marriage, he dismissed it. Eventually, she saw the truth. She had never been a priority, just another option to him. Every time she confronted him, he reminded her of one cruel fact. I never asked you to leave your husband. The words cut her deeper every time. She had destroyed something good for a fleeting fantasy. And now, every so often, Ivanka thought about Charles. Did he move on? Did he find happiness? The more she tried to forget, the stronger the thoughts returned. She had a man who loved her, who was willing to fight for her, and she had destroyed it. So, what's the lesson? Sometimes we don't realize the value of what we have until it's gone. We chase after what we think we want, but in doing so, we blind ourselves to what we truly need. Words matter. What we say can either build up or destroy a relationship. Love isn't just passion or excitement. It's trust, respect, and companionship. Without those, passion fades. Charles didn't walk away out of anger. He left because staying where he wasn't wanted would only hurt them both. Some believe love is worth fighting for no matter what. Others know when it's time to let go. So, what do you think? Did Charles make the right choice by leaving, or should he have stayed and fought for his marriage? Share your thoughts in the comments. Until next time, take care and stay wise.